keep your WordPress website secure in a few easy steps. Number one is of course using a backup system. Now I know you've probably heard a lot about a backup system, but installing and using Updraft Plus isn't enough. This is because you could have a backup on your site, but if somebody gets onto your site, it's quite likely they'll delete your backup. There's a few things we can do to make this even stronger. First of all is actually, if you're using Updraft Plus, is using remote storage as well, which means it gets uploaded to your site, but it also gets uploaded to your remote storage, such as a Google Drive. However, there are still ways for somebody to get onto your site and then still delete the remote storage. So you're thinking, well, what else can I do? You also take a physical download of it, so you download it to your PC, and then you put it somewhere separate to your site, so you have it in two different locations. So now you have a backup on your site, you have a backup on your remote storage, and you have a backup on your PC or USB drive, making it that no matter what, you have a safe backup. You can do this around once a month or after any major changes. Number two, of course, is using a security plugin. Now, there's lots of security plugins. I'm not going to be the one to tell you exactly which one to use. The best way to do that is checking out the reviews of the plugins themselves to see what other users have said, or checking out online. For an example here, if I use Wordfence, I know that it's going to block certain areas, usually known for hackers trying to access these areas, and it's going to give you things like bot protections for logins. Then you can also use separate plugins for potentially hiding your URL login. To give you an example, I might use Wordfence as a main security plugin and firewall. This will mitigate lots of attacks to my site. It will also stop bot attacks and allow me to block IPs. But in conjunction with that, I might also use a WP hide login, meaning that anybody trying to log into that certain PHP login file or WP admin will simply get redirected to a 404 page, and I'll have a separate URL with the secret keyword to log in, keeping plugins and themes up to date. I've mentioned this on many videos, however it is really important to keep these up to date. You might have a plugin on your site that you've not updated for literally years. Now in them years somebody would have found some sort of weakness, and what they want to do is exploit that weakness on your site. So essentially if they find out that you're using that plugin on your site, they can exploit that weakness and then somehow get in or do something malicious to your website. Updates, just like phone updates, will basically keep you more secure because anything they found, they have patched. Lastly, it's going to be your hosting provider. It's all fine and well to offer you hosting. However, you want to make sure your provider, much like us at SeekerHost, is offering you safety in terms of SSL. This will provide secure transactions and will let people know it is not a phishing site. It's a secure site with an SSL certificate. Number two is going to be that they actually provide you backups from the system itself. So your hosting, again like us at SeekerHost, will also have a backup system that not only just you can access, but we also have a backup on the background as well. This means there's always a safe version in case anything goes wrong. And of course DDoS protection. In fact, hosting companies like us actually go through quite a lot to make sure that you're safe. Anything from bot to security verification, and DDoS protection coming as standard with all our packages. You want to make sure that your site isn't getting a DDoS attack, or if it is, you are protected. And of course, just one last thing is just keep changing your password. I know it's annoying. Nobody likes to have to remember different passwords. Unfortunately, hackers or anybody trying to do anything malicious is sort of relying on this. Essentially, you might have had a site, or there might have been a different site or a different website that has leaked the password. Somebody's got into it and they found your old passwords. However, if you've not changed your password since 2003, it's quite likely they're going to try that password on everything that you have. And if suddenly one matches up, and of course you don't have two-factor authentication, which is another thing that you should always have, they could gain access to your site. Two-factor authentication is a very strong tool. It's the difference between somebody guessing your password and simply logging in, or somebody guessing your password and still having to go an extra step like a mobile verification or an email verification. It makes it harder, and what you need to do is make it harder for these people to gain access to your website.